Hi, I'm Beth Saunders, family genealogist, creative memories advisor, and archives associate. As I go through a box of things from my grandparents' house, I'm going to help you figure out what's trash and what's treasure. I'm going to show you how to safely store sentimental items and give you some ideas about what to do with them. I actually went through this box about 2 years ago, and the only thing that's changed since I made this video is that we now have the 12 by 12 paper file mate. So when we're going through some of those panoramic pictures or old 8 by 10s or any documents, you can get the paper file mate, and it is 12 by 12, plenty of room, and a lot of pockets for storage. We also have a school days version, which has a cute little design. So if you don't have to use it for school papers, you could actually use it for your vintage items. So stay through to the end, and I'll give you an update about what I've done so far. And I'm here to help you today decide what to do with some of the things that you may have inherited and stored away. So I've got this box here that we're going to go through. What happened is when my uncle passed away in 2015, he lived with his parents who had passed away before that, and they inherited their parents' things and their grandparents' things. So there were 4 generations of things in this little house that I used to call my grandparents' house. So my family got together and did a clean out, which went very well. Actually, we prayed before we started because, sometimes these things can get a little tense, especially when you're grieving. Some people have a lot of time to clean out a house, and some people have to do it in a hurry. And I would love to, if you want to put in the comments, I would love to hear about some of your experiences that you've had to go through in cleaning out a house. And you also have to decide what is trash and what is treasure. Well, a lot of things went into the trash, magazines, newspapers, food. It all depends on the situation. Papers are difficult. As far as business papers, you're supposed to keep 7 years worth of business papers. If you're an executor or an executrix and you are handling the family finances and legal things, you need to keep that, plus all of your deeds. Now, if you watched my other video, this is the same house where my family entrusted me with the 19th century papers and deeds. And in the other video, I went through how to handle those old fragile papers that were originally in this box, and I put them in an archival box and file folders. So that is a little bit different process. Today, we're going to look through this box here, which is more, I haven't looked at it honestly in about 5 years. So, but it's mostly mid 20th century things, and it might not all be pictures. It might be just some junk or sentimental items. I don't really remember. The one thing that I did pull out because somebody needed a scan was some large 8 by 10 things, and we'll look at those in a second. But what my family did that worked out really, really well was for the things that we didn't throw away. We've got rid of the trash. There was a lot of scrap metal, nuts and bolts, and just, they lived through the Depression and they kept everything. And yes, I've inherited a little bit of that, but hopefully not quite as bad. But we got boxes, and this is the proverbial liquor box. This is what you do when you move, whether you're in a hurry or on a tight budget. And around here, you go to the liquor store and they give you free boxes that are very sturdy. Another thing you can do is go to the office supply and get office boxes that are nice about having handles. So, but we put a box for each person working on the house. We took a Sharpie,
and just mark their names on the boxes. And when something, we're a very sentimental, close family. And I'm talking about my sister, my cousins, my aunt, all working together. And when we ran across something sentimental, we decided right then and there who got it. One of the things we did that worked very well is before we went over there, we had, my aunt was the executor, and we had put our top request on a piece of paper and given it to her privately. No guarantees. That way, if 3 people wanted the same thing, then she could decide who got it. And if nobody else wanted the same thing, she might not know that you even wanted it. It worked out amazingly. I know that's not going to happen in every family, but for example, my cousin wanted the picture, a painting of hunting dogs on the wall that nobody else requested that. So he got it because he asked in a very polite way. So, and I wanted old pictures, and everybody knows that that's kind of my thing. So in this case, it went very well. But aside from the list, so we went through and just found all the little things that were on dressers and drawers and, in the house. We decided, and we would, Beth would like to have this, and maybe I would put it in my box. But the funny thing is, as we went on through the day, we started sneaking things into each other's boxes. Oh, Libby loves antiques. Let's put it in her box, and sure. And it might have been like, what is this? It's old, but what is it? Libby will know. Let's put it in her box, So we had a little fun with it too. So anyhow, this is Beth's box, but a lot of it is my uncle's things because he didn't have children. And as somebody who's been in photo preservation and genealogy, you have that one person in the family. So I've sort of volunteered, or was volunteered, to be the keeper of special things for him. So I expect there's going to be a lot of those things in the box. And let's just see what we have and think about what we're going to do with these. They've been here for a few years, and it's time to go through it. So the one thing that I've pulled out before, everything else I haven't looked at in 5 years, excuse me, was that somebody needed a scan of the local sports team. So I pulled out this 8x10 picture, and there's my uncle on the far end right here when he was very young. So, and a school certificate. So large things like that. Maybe someday I will, and when I say someday, probably I will make an album or make a few pages in the family album, especially for my uncle. For right now, I'm going to store them in a pocket page. This could go right in an album, but it's also a great place to keep these things safe so that they won't get fingerprints on them, won't get jumped on by the cat. And then I will tuck, for storage purposes, I'm going to tuck the certificate behind the pictures. You don't want it on the face of the picture because it's got acid in it, and that will degrade it. So again, this is temporary because you really want to have that certificate in a separate place. But that's how I'm going to store them for now. And I will probably do an album, or at least part of an album, and put it in the family. All right, here we go. Notebook. Let's see what this is. This is a blank notebook, so this goes in office supplies. Ooh, what's in here? So you can see what I'm doing. Upside down. This is pictures. Okay. We were doing research together on some older family members. These are actually copies of pictures. And you know what? I was wondering where those were. So, and this is the tin type This is the tintypes that I've been looking for years. Y'all, possibly my great-great-grandfather, and I was wondering who had them. So, okay. I am going to, for now, keep these in this folder, but this has a special place. So these are the notes on the genealogy research. You would just write notes on a pad, but it's all right here in this folder, which is really, really sweet. But I have a place for that branch of the family and some research I'm doing. So that's where this is going to go. This is an oral history interview. I was wondering where that was, but I found my copy of it. That's a copy. Some more notes, research notes. And then some printed out things that we had on that family. Oh, fun. I am going to have fun with this. Wow, I didn't know that was in there. Might get a little teary here. But that does have a place to go. Okay. Some stickers because I was helping him make an album about racing. So that will go in my scrapbooking stuff. Again, I might get a little teary. And some more scrapbook supplies. Okay, this is a panoramic photo that I don't remember, but it has to do with his collector cars that he worked on. That's my uncle over here. I'm going to use a power sort box. Now you'll see some of the older ones behind me here that were different sizes. This is a little bit different design on it, but this is the power sort box that we have now. And it has all these little containers that you can put photos or even some small memorabilia in. But in the lid is storage for some larger things. So that's where I'm going to put this panoramic picture for now. And I'm going to keep this power sort box handy because I think we're going to run into some small things here. Speaking of which, this is those little calling cards that people handed out at graduation. So I assume these are friends of my uncles, but it might have been, looking at some of the names, it might have been my mom or my aunt. So for now, they are going in the power sort box. Okay, this is a loop for coins. Again, I'm here to help you, but I'm not saying I know where everything is going today because I'm not a jeweler or a coin collector. This would be good for coin collectors. So I'm going to have to put that aside. Here are some more panoramic pictures. And they're not all panoramic, actually. Okay, this is from a cruise that he went on with my mom and my aunt, complete with postcards. So, oh, and of course, collector cars. Yeah, we're definitely gonna have to make a scrapbook for him because there's my mom and my aunt. Now that's a little bit big to put in the power sort, so I'm going to just lay it on top of it, put it in the lid right now. Fits perfectly. Okay. More pictures in a horrible bag. When you get things in these developers envelopes, that's not a great place for long-term storage, but it has worked for these years so far, and it is okay for short-term storage. But this plastic bag is going to have to go. That is not good for pictures. So I have a trash can right here, and I am going to put these, let me see what they are. This is Hawaii. This is a family trip. And these must be his pictures that he took. And it might be that I already have a copy of these. So, but I'm going to put them in the Power Star box. All right, this one. So, and oh, by the way, this envelope has the order, which has the year, and that's very helpful. You don't want to throw that out until you've written it somewhere. Although I don't really need the film can. Okay, so this looks like a mix of car shows and Hawaii. And for now, I'm going to keep it in this envelope with the year and put it over with the other panoramic envelope. And this is about a week late. I'm recording this the week after Christmas. And here is a, don't let my cat see this. There's a little Christmas tree complete with lights. So we might have to try that. Feels like it doesn't have a battery, but that's okay. Anyhow, I think I'll keep that for myself. We'll put it in the Christmas decoration and hide it from the cat. And I might not go through the entire box. I don't want to bore you, but let me sort of give you the gist of what to do with different things. If it is a newsletter, I am generally going to throw them away, but I might keep this temporarily because it's about their Alaska trip. These are actually, I think these are cruise newsletters. So I'm aiming to throw them away in the near future, but I'm going to put them with the pictures so that when I make an album, then I'll have dates and, you know, if I need to look anything up, and then get rid of those. And here's the airline tickets, and those could go in the album too. More cruise stuff. Put that all together. Here's some, you know, where you go to the sites and you buy the group picture. There's some of those. So it's nice that all this is together. And that looks like, oh, that's another souvenir from the cruise. All goes together. Some trash in there. Let's see what else we have. Newspaper articles. We talked about this in my other video. This is actually a distant relative, I think. So what I need to do with that is make a copy on acid-free paper. And at the archives, we throw the original newspaper clipping away. I know as individuals and genealogists, we really hate to do that, but it's already yellowed because newspaper is just the worst paper. And really we need the information, the picture. And so a good copy or a scan is going to be great for us. Now, scanning is great. It's the best way to share, and it's a good way to back up. But I would not use that as primary storage. You really want things on paper. We have things at the archives where I worked. We have things back to the 1600s on paper. And we don't have a lot of things from the 1980s because they're on floppy drives, floppy disk. So if you get my meaning, paper lasts, not all paper, you know, the good quality does last for hundreds of years. And how many digital things do you have that's 100 years old? Some people claim that they're going to store it forever, but you would have to give your family passwords. You would have to direct them to it. And it's nice to have your primary archives, something that you can hold. But again, backing up is great in case of fire or whatever. Okay, letters. All right, this is a good one because it looks like it was It looks like it's to my grandfather from my great aunt, his sister. And let's see what it is. This is her marriage, an invitation to her marriage. Oh my goodness. All right. So that is not my uncle's, but I would like to put that in a family album. Or I wonder if her daughter probably has some, but maybe I should check with her daughter and make sure that she has one of these, because I know that that would be a treasure for her. So I'm making a different pile for a different sibling, or an aunt actually. Old maps. If it's, you know, really old, like a 19th century or something like that, then you might want to collect it or sell it. It might be sentimental to you. But if it's from National Geographic magazine from the 20th century, it's not collectible. This one's not sentimental, it's the ocean. So I use those in my bookshop to wrap things, or you could recycle them. And there are some more of those. Okay, another old map. And an old magazine. I really don't know why I decided to keep this. Maybe our family is in it because it's about pheasants and hunting. So I won't bore you with that. I will look through this and see if my family is in it somewhere before possibly discarding it or putting it in the bookshop. Church bulletins. I actually have a home for those. Oh, this is our history when my church turned 90 years old. So I'll put those in their home. And I eventually want to throw a lot of those out, but keeping them, especially the history pages, for genealogical information. More newspapers. That is a picture of a local historical house, and I have a place to file that. Instructions to the voice recorder that he gave me. So I might ought to look at those for oral history. So we're doing genealogy interviews. Okay. Grand Canyon. This looks like postcards. Oh, very sweet. So this might be good to put one or two in his album because he really enjoyed going there, and then maybe not keep the others, maybe actually send them to people. Okay, here's some more. This looks like a reunion, class reunion thing. So that goes in his pile. More newspapers. This is, I think, my grandfather. There's no date on it, but I think it's my grandfather when he was training bird dogs and going to trials all around the country. So that is a treasure that I will definitely want to copy and make a good copy out of. This has my name on it. Must have been, maybe it's one of my cousins put it on there when we were going through things. Oh my goodness, y'all. Bear with me. This is my mother. Very young, feeding a little deer. That is cool. Okay. This looks like a little bit of a mishmash of pictures. I think this might be their trip to South Carolina. There's a little bit of Hawaii in here. It's like no, that's Hawaii. These are some copies that we got from family members. And there's my grandfather feeding the little deer. So these are some great old family pictures. They're both my grandparents. That is a nice picture of my grandmother. I don't have a whole lot. So, And there's Uncle Ben's family. These need to go in genealogy, and these others will go in the power sort box with his pictures. Actually, I think I will put these in the power sort box for now. And I'll just kind of make a little genealogy related box there. Those little boxes inside make good dividers. This belonged to my mother. Let's see if I remember what it is. Yes, it is a tiny little tea set. So that is sentimental, very sweet. And I'm going to put it upstairs in a box of my mother's things. Maybe I'll pull it out and show it once in a while. I can get the lid back on. Very tiny. Oh my goodness, that is so sweet. It's great that a lot of these things have a home so far. Not everything will, I'm sure. Let's just pull this pile of papers out. Okay. Letters again. Okay, this is from my mom. This is my sister's wedding. So that will go, I have a file for that. That is up here behind me somewhere. I'll get that right after the video. Postcards. And this is addressed to my grandmother. Okay, so cards. Oh my goodness. So as I started to say, cards. You don't have to keep them all. Every birthday card, every Christmas card. You may want to, if there are some signatures that are old and you don't have them anywhere else, then you would want to keep that. But if it's just a lot of, no letters inside, just a name, sometimes we have to get rid of some paper, and that would be something that it wouldn't hurt to get rid of. This is actually a keeper though, because this is to my grandmother from her Sunday school class, and it is signed by a lot of names that aren't around anymore. So that is a treasure for sort of my church family. And more church bulletins. And stamps. Some stamps are collectible, a lot are not. And I have a charity I can give those to. This is our old local high school. So I'm going to put this in local stuff. It looks like this is such a mishmash. I'm going to have to go through piece by piece and see if there's any other kind of ephemera. That's what we call this, is ephemera. There's a nice, it's a Christmas card from my great aunt that has, well, I guess that's not local. I thought it was local. There used to be some covered bridges around here, but it's not. It's store-bought card. But still, it's from her. And this is from my old workplace, from me, with the helicopters and hangars. So I might put that in my stuff because, you don't collect stuff from your everyday life, unfortunately. And then Trinity High School reunion. This might go with that name tag. So that will go over here in his pile. Little notebooks. Little notebooks are kind of fascinating sometimes. This one has a few pictures inside. And the name in the front is a surname on my grandmother's side of the family. C something Ruth. So these pictures are not identified, which unfortunately they aren't. They're probably from the Ruth side of the family, which is good to know. So for now, I'm going to keep them in this notebook. Here's a date and a death date. So somebody was starting to keep records in here, but I don't think they continued. So what I'll do is, these pictures really need to come out of here and be stored in a better way. but I want to write where I got them and that they were probably related to that side of the family. Here's some, this is definitely ephemera. Ephemera means things that don't that didn't usually last, that a lot of people threw them out. This is a cute little Valentine with a fan that pulls out. So let's see if we can tell whose it is, and then we'll know where to put it. It's tied in with a string. That is so cute, but it doesn't say. That isn't, oh, maybe it opens. Here we go. Oh my goodness, it's from my dad. So this goes in my mother's things. Isn't that sweet? And it has my dad's handwriting. Very cool. More letters. That's my handwriting. Some more. Okay. Ooh. Mid 20th century pictures. That's in pretty bad shape. Look how it's faded. So I recognize that chest. This is probably my mom's, and a Christmas tree. So that needs to be scanned and touched up, because some of those 1960s, 1970s pictures really turn red and fade. Something awful. So I'm thinking several of these were my mom's things, because she did have a room that they didn't use for anything else at my grandparents', even though she didn't live there anymore. So maybe that was before they got married. That was probably before they got married, or it would have been at our house. Yes. All right. These look like land plats. Yes. All right. So I will put this with the deeds, although I think they're more modern. I will put this with the deeds that are behind me that we worked on before. Put them in a file. And this blueprint. More blueprints or plats. And they'll get a new folder since they're obviously different years. Now, paper clips, metal paper clips are bad. So let's remove that. And then if you have vinyl covered paper clips, that's okay, because it protects your papers from the metal. For right now, since they're in the other room and I don't want to make you wait, I'm just going to put these smaller papers inside the bigger paper so I'll know that they were together. They were stored together. And that looks like more of the same in here. More plats. Then there is some jewelry. And all right, y'all. I can help you with the archives, but I can't always tell you what to do with stockings. They come with garter hooks. I don't have garters, don't really want to wear them. But anyhow, ideas. They're probably new, maybe 50 years old, but new. So yeah, I could use some suggestions for things like that. And then this looks like some kind of hairpin. I thought it was a hair clamp, but if you look at the back, it's sort of just one of those things hooks under. Isn't that kind of neat? So put those in jewelry. More stockings. I think these are modern. These are just like you wear with pants. Okay. And then sorry. Popcorn. It's at least 5 years old. What do you think? Oh, and this is a treasure, and I should probably be wearing gloves. Let's see. I wasn't wearing gloves when I put it in there. Sorry to say. I have one handy here. But I hate that it got stuck on the bottom. There's some more stamps. Careful. More stamps. This is my great grandmother's bonnet. So I talked last time when I handled the old papers, I talked about when to use gloves, and cloth is one of those things that you really want to be careful with, because we have oils in our fingers that will, eventually degrade the cloth, and you don't want to keep washing it if it's something that's really, really old. Look at the patterns in this. And they say Quakers wore black and white, but I know different. Some of us wore some nice little florals, as not just my great grandmother, but we have a local museum that has a lot of clothes from the region. So they didn't just wear black and white; they just boycotted certain dyes and things that promoted slavery and lived a little bit simpler than everybody else. They still do, or at least some of them still do. But anyhow, so this needs an archival box, and look, the back has a nice elastic to fit around your head. My cousin Brenda Allred is good at preserving wedding dresses, and whereas I do more paper and photographs, she does cloth and freeze dries bouquets and things like that. So I will ask my cousin what is the best way to store this, and maybe get a box from her or some special tissue paper. And that is how I would store this, because this is great, very sentimental and historical and fun. Okay. Wow. And this is not as old or sentimental to me, but there are some little doilies that were in my mom's room. So I will put them in the box. Several years back, we had a special power sort box for mementos, and I have one of those. And that's where I'm going to put the little tea set and just some things that were my mom's. Okay. Feels like coins. It has my name on it. Okay. So that's just a coin that my uncle used to give us one every year. More popcorn. Okay. More popcorn and a hotel shower cap, which I can always use a hotel shower cap. And some Q-tips, just supplies from the house. There's a book in the bottom that will go in the books, and some more plats, and little ribbons. This I can take the sewing pin out of, because just like the metal paper clip, that causes damage. And a lot of the really, really old things, you'll find that people use sewing pins as paper clips sometimes, but that metal rust. And so we'll just get rid of that, and that would go great with some things on an album page with this reunion. Throw that away. What's in here? An empty bag. I don't need that. Photos. Okay, so that's photos and a postcard of Hawaii, and that goes with the trips. Okay. And I think that's about it for all the kinds of things. Here's a pen. One of those free bank pens, but it looks really, really old. So and some more hotel shower caps. If you have any questions, let me know. Sometimes it's hard to know what's trash and what's treasure, especially if you're a sentimental soul. But you don't have to throw out things unless maybe you're downsizing and have to really make room for something. In which case, remember your extended family. Remember what can be duplicated. So, like old church bulletins, probably other people have them. You're not the only person in the world that has to keep these. So you could, if you're downsizing, then you could get rid of a lot of things like that. But then also when it comes to pictures, remember your extended family. There may be cousins, there may be aunts, uncles, nieces, nephews that would be interested in some of those things. And they're often more precious in an album than they are just sort of loose and scattered and mixed up.
So here's an update. It's been 2 years since I went through that box, and I haven't made photo albums yet, but that's actually a good thing. For one thing, that was a variety of stuff, and it's not all going to go into a photo album. But also, since then, I've received 2 more boxes of family items from the old home place, from my grandparents, my uncles, and now my cousin's house. So if you're interested in seeing what those 2 new boxes have in them, then hit subscribe and you'll be sure to be notified when I go through those. So also, the photos I filed in an older version that I already had of this FileMate. The deeds I filed away in an archival box like the one that I showed you, and there's a whole video that I previously made about that, so you can go watch that if you want to. And as far as my great grandmother's bonnet, it is now stored in an archival file box. I actually was able to borrow a clear glass display, and I bought an inexpensive form to put it on and showed it off at my church's 100th anniversary last summer. I'd love to know what kind of estate items you're working with. Let me know what questions you have in the comments.